What is going on, everyone? Thanks for watching my video tonight. My Packers just got done defeating the Patriots 27-24 in a really frustrating game for Green Bay. And I know it's early in the season. I know there's been some changes to the team, but in my opinion, despite some of the new receivers, despite a new offensive coordinator, despite some injuries we've had, especially I got the Jair jersey on. Thought he was playing today. He was ruled inactive right before the game. Amos, he exited the game early with the injury. So definitely some injury concerns. But those aside, I think that the way this Packers team is performing, I don't think not having Devontae Adams or not having David Bakhtiari earlier in the season, not having Jair today, I don't think that's the reason we're losing. I think there's a lot of problems that can be fixed and shouldn't be happening, but they're happening anyway. And to me, the number one issue with the Packers offense right now, and I think that's the biggest problem, is the offense. I've loved how the defense has played for the most part. But the Packers offense, in my opinion, the run game has been good, but not great. I think we need to maximize the use of Jones and Dillon. Jones had 3 catches today for 5 yards, and I think 2 of those catches were in the second half. They needed to get Jones and Dillon involved even more, and I keep saying this every week, and I know they get the carries, but they got to be involved a lot more. I said Jones could be a 90-catch running back out of the backfield this year, and I think it's still very possible. Maybe not 90 at this rate because it's been 4 games of him not getting a ton of passes, but I think they're using Jones wrong. I think he's being used right as a runner. I mean, he had over 100 yards today, had a great game against the Bears a few weeks back, but I think he needs to be the focal point of the Green Bay offense. I think he's our single best skill position player by far, and he needs to be featured. Dillon needs to be featured a little more as well. He had a lot of catches in week 1, which I was happy about. He was great in week 1, and he's kind of been only used as a power back for the 3 games after that. So I would like to see them use the running backs in a more versatile way. And the other issue with the offense, Aaron Rodgers just doesn't look the same this year. And I hate to say it, and a lot of people are going to put this on the new guys like Dobbs, like Watson. Dobbs drops the pass in the end zone. Rodgers heaves that to him. He was confident in Dobbs being able to make that play, and he was right because Dobbs got open. He got to the end zone, but he just bobbled it. When he came down, ball came out when he hit the ground before he could make the football move. We've seen this on the Packers. Been the good side of this with the Dez catch, the Calvin Johnson rule, whatever you want to call it. That's just how it is. Even though Dobbs caught the ball, it wasn't a catch, so it doesn't count. So we didn't get the score there. If that counts, this game doesn't go to overtime. Another interesting thing that happened, at one point the Patriots, I believe it was when Devontae Parker scored, or was it Aguilar? One of those 2 guys scored, I believe in the 3rd quarter, but the Patriots had to delay a game. Like if you just were watching, it was, the play clock was at 0, and there was another 3 seconds before they snapped the ball. It was a no called, so then they were able to, I believe at that point it was a 17-14 lead, so they were able to take a lead at that point. So, if that doesn't happen, maybe we make a stand, maybe we hold them to a field goal, we can win earlier. Those debacles aside, I still think this Packers offense needs to play better because we should have beaten this team bad today. Brian Hoyer alone should have been an easy win, but then Zappe comes in, the Mac Jones clone. I think the Patriots need to be investigated for clone gate now because Bailey Zappe looks exactly like Mac Jones. His face looks the same. He plays similarly. A lot of dump-offs. So, I don't know. He seems like a clone of Mac Jones. I just think that's funny. But that aside, we should be able to beat Bailey Zappe in his first ever NFL game. The 3rd-string quarterback, the 5th-round rookie. This defense should have been able to shut him down. And Rashawn Gary did that. Rashawn Gary was very good. But overall, I think we needed to have a better effort. The run defense, should have been a lot better. Both Stevenson and Harris ran all over us. Campbell is very good. I'm not, maybe he's not going to be an all-pro this season, but he's still a very good inside linebacker. But Quay Walker, Chris Barnes, although Chris Barnes is injured right now, so maybe getting him back will help. But, Quay Walker, I don't think he's been bad either, so he's not been horrible. So I don't really know what the issue is with the run game. Fournette last week was really the only guy we kind of kept in check, but whether it was with David Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, and then this week with the 2 Patriot guys, we haven't been able to stop the run consistently, and I thought we would be able to because I really like our inside linebacker core, and I still think they got a lot of potential, so I'm hoping that improves. Love the pass rush. I think Clark, Preston, and obviously Rashawn Gary. Those 3 guys, and even Jaron Reed sometimes, very good front 7 unit there to rush the passer, and it showed up today. Rashawn Gary, very underrated player. He's gotten better every single season. What an absolute great draft pick by Brian Gutekunst to boldly take him 12th. Everyone killed him for it. Everyone said Gary was too raw, but he saw the potential, and now to me, Rashawn Gary is a top 5 pass rusher in the NFL. He's up there, and he's in the top 5 of pressures last year. Came close to double-digit sacks. I think he's definitely getting to this year. He's had a sack in every game, so he might be our best defensive player right now. Jair, I like to say Jair is, but he's just was hurt last year, and he hasn't been too healthy this year. I still think he has that ability, but as of right now, I think Rashawn Gary's the star of this defense. And the secondary held up solidly. I think Zappe completed a lot of passes, but it wasn't for a ton of yards. So I think Stokes and Douglas did a mostly good job keeping that in check with Amos and Jair not being in the game. Amos came out really early with the injury. So defensively, I think we're in a good spot, but the offense is what is concerning me. Dobbs looked great today. I mentioned earlier, of course, could have had a huge star-making touchdown. Didn't work out, but he still had another touchdown, a shorter touchdown earlier. So I think that Dobbs has proven to be, I think he's the best receiver on this team. Lazard played the best today with Dobbs right behind him, but I think Dobbs has earned that number 1 receiver job. I think he's going to continue to solidify it. I like that we kept going to him. He fumbled early in the game, which hurt us. And then for about a quarter, they didn't really go back to him, and I was worried we were phasing him out for fumbling. That's something I never understand in football. It's he fumbled, we have to bench him. It's well, do you think he's going to fumble every time he touches the ball? Unless it's a severe case, I don't really think that one fumble should get a player benched. But that aside, I don't think that's what happened with Dobbs. I was worried about it for about a half hour, but I think it manifested that wasn't what was happening. We just weren't really gelling, especially in that first half to connect with him. But second half, he got back into it. So really the only other thing I'm concerned, I started touching on it and then I kind of got lost on a tangent, but Rodgers. I think Rodgers needs to just kind of clean up his act right now because, he's overthrown a lot of passes. He already has 3 interceptions this season. He only had 4 all of last year. So I think he's got to improve on that. I think he just was rushing a lot of throws. I know he used to quick dump offs to Devontae, but I think if he's going to do those, it has to be to Cobb, which we did see. We saw those succeed with Cobb, and also Jones, because out of the backfield, I think they can very much dump it off to Jones. And like I was saying, I think we need to do that a lot more. I think we need to get him involved in the passing game. But it's not really going to work with Watson or Dobbs or even some of these other guys because they just don't have that chemistry 100% locked in, but that doesn't mean Rodgers can't throw to these guys. I like that he's gotten Dobbs consistently involved. I like that we found ways to use Christian Watson despite that week 1 drop. I think they've used him decently for considering how much he's been hurt. I think they've done a good job to try and get him involved in the offense. So really what I want to see from Rodgers, just shore it up, because it seems like he has had a bad quarter in every game, and today I would say it was probably the second. You could argue the first wasn't great either, but I would say that first half he was definitely off before he turned it up in the second half. Vikings, the first half, once again, he was bad. The Bears game, I would say I think it was the third quarter, but definitely one of those, towards the end of that game, he started to trail off, and we weren't able to sustain the pace we were going in the first half of that game. And last week, the second half is definitely when he struggled because we scored 14 points. Didn't score again in the second half, but thankfully, we were still able to win that game. What I want to see from Rodgers, I just want to see, it doesn't have to be MVP Rodgers because he doesn't have Adams, but just have the confidence in these guys. I don't know, he's either rushing it and then overthrows it, or he doesn't want to take the risk of the interception, and then he sits in the pocket, and he's been getting sacked a lot this year. I think we need to see a combination of those kind of... I think he just needs to be smarter with when he does those things. It's okay to wait for guys to get open, but I think he's doing it too much where maybe in those situations he needs to take more of a risk, see if Romeo can get down the field. And he did that later in the game today. Of course, as I said, it wasn't a catch, but that was encouraging to me because he wasn't doing that in the first half. He did it a little more in the second half. And when it comes to overthrowing these guys, just trying to do those quick throws he's so used to, we might just have to cut down on it. I don't know. Maybe Cobb, like I said, maybe Cobb's the guy to do it because Cobb has been pretty solid this year, and a lot of his catches have been kind of those quick snaps from the Packers offense. We got the Giants in London next week, but I don't know. I think we can definitely win that game, but London games are weird. We saw that today with the Saints and the Vikings, a weird ending there. Came down to that field goal, and it was, the double doink, reminiscent of the Bears double doink. That's kind of how that game ended. So London games are always weird, but I think we're just definitely a better team than the Giants. I think we can beat them. Wasn't too encouraged today at all. I think we need to improve the way we use Jones and Dillon. I think we need to improve that run defense. We need to get Jair healthy so we can just shut down people even more than we already are. And I think Rodgers just needs to find a way that he's comfortable connecting with all these receivers, because it seems to me he's trying to go about things the way he's always gone about it, and that makes him look bad and that makes the receivers look bad. It makes everyone look like they're out of sync. But Rodgers has connected with these guys in meaningful moments this season. He's just got to do it more consistently. So I think if they just adjust that a little, it'll be okay. Other than that, I don't know. That's really all I have to say about this game. The Patriots definitely played a good game, all things considered. The run game, as I said, for them was great. Zappe did an admirable job. He wasn't throwing a ton of interceptions to our defense, our really good secondary. So credit him there. I'm sure Belichick was doing that by design. Didn't want him taking any heaves down the field. Stinks for Hoyer to go out with, I guess it was a concussion, it seemed, because, he's getting up there in age. Not sure how many starts he has left in his career, so he lost out on a game this week. Because I would assume the Patriots would have played just as well with Hoyer. He only had one incompletion when he came out. So, he's better than Zappe. Who knows? We might have even lost the game if Hoyer got to stay in. So we should consider ourselves lucky for that. I want the Packers to get a nice, real win. We don't have a real win yet. We beat the Bears. We beat Tampa without their best 3 receivers. And now we beat the Patriots with their third-string quarterback. So I would like a real win. Not sure how to feel about the Giants, if that will qualify as a real win. We'll be in London, so you can say, because of those conditions, a win there would be more impressive. But you can also throw it out the door, like I was saying earlier, because London games can be weird. And you can say, who cares what happens in London? Those games are weird. So, I don't know. I think this Packers team's good. I think the defense is great. And I think the offense has potential to keep improving as long as they shore things up. I would have been a lot madder in this video if we lost that game, but we pulled it out. We looked good in fourth quarter and overtime, so guess I can't complain that much, but it was definitely an ugly game, definitely concerning. Don't think the Packers can be considered Super Bowl contenders right now, but I think you could say that for most NFC teams. Really, it's just the Eagles. We'll see how Tampa looks tonight, but I'm not sold on them at all, as I touched on in last week's video when I was talking about the Packers-Tampa game. Eagles might be the only NFC team I'm really in on. Rams and Niners have concerned me. Yeah, it might be the Eagles conference to lose right now. Hate to put that pressure on my Eagles friends, but looks like they're the favorites. I would love the Packers to improve and get back into the race, but right now they can't be in that. Right now we're a playoff team, nothing more, nothing less. So hopefully we keep on winning. We are 3-1. I'm optimistic, but optimistic about a Super Bowl, can't say I am there. But we got some good players. So I'm excited to see how the season plays out. So thank you guys for watching my video tonight. I'm going to go watch this Chiefs-Tampa game. Other than that, go Pack Go. Hopefully next week the team doesn't give me a near heart attack again.